Welcome back to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
and me, Jennifer,
have a few drinks
and talk shit about our kids.
Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Guide to Poor Parenting, all one word. Woohoo! Jennifer, how's your week been?
It's been all right. Wesley's
been
going
a booty
through
head.
some stuff and being a mean little asshole.
It was fun that we had Lindsay over.
It is, yes. We had her on the podcast. We got to hang out with her and
We drank a lot of vodka.
It was the second time that I met her, and I have a little bit of a crud, so if I start coughing, I apologize to our four listeners.
I thought you were going to say crush.
No.
Like, what?
Yes, I have a little crush on my Linda. But it's the second time I've met her, and I just feel like I've known her forever.
Yeah.
I love that. I love your friends.
Zay and I had a wedding ceremony in 2015 in New Orleans, and that was like when we invited the family and friends, and I guess we didn't know you very well at the time,
Yeah.
so we didn't invite you, but then it wasn't legal at the time, so we
Right.
went back in 19, because that was the year we bought this house, and on the way back so in 2019 we went back to New Orleans with you, and we got legally married, and I guess I don't know, I have a problem with names, but when we walked up, we found Lindsay and her husband Bill, and I was like, Jennifer, this is my friend Linda, and then she's like, what? Because I was like, Lindsay and I have been friends for going on 25 years now.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know. And then somehow you became Jessica that weekend. And
Our alter egos.
the alter egos.
It's all in our podcast. Linza. Because
Linza.
I'm trying to put Linda and Lindsay together.
And
it's really hard to remember her real name because of how many times we call each other Linda and Jessica. It's hilarious.
And I think I probably mentioned this in the last her episode podcast. That was like in my phone. Actually, I have her as Lindy. It was like, and I think I introduced Bill as Will or something. I don't know.
No, later on I felt like he was being left out, so I said, I'm going to start calling you Will, and he was like, okay.
I think his name really is William, because Bill is... Yeah.
I guess. But he was like, okay, I'm with that. And then in her phone, I'm Jennifer Jessica, and in my phone, she's Lindsay Linda, because
so
it's
funny.
just how we each other.
Good times.
So
Yeah.
how's your week been this week?
Pretty good. The hip's hurting. You know, I've probably talked about this in a few other podcast episodes, but like I'm going to have my left hip replaced. I had my right one replaced last year, but the left one, I don't know, it goes in phases where like 1 week it even hurts to just lay down.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of like have a dull ache, and sometimes, and then some weeks it's fine, nothing wrong. We actually, Zay and I took Clea and Wesley hiking the other day up on Montesano, and I was just messing around with Wesley, trying to like touch him, and I twisted and it popped, and ooh, it hurt. I was like hurting the rest of the day, so fuck. So it's just come or go with that damn hip.
Yeah.
But after this, after April, I guess I'll be all situated and have another hip, but hopefully we won't have a giant delay in our podcast after this, because I'm hoping we'll get all the behind the scenes magic of the podcast. Jennifer and I usually bank all our episodes before we release them, so we've recorded all our guest episodes, and now we're just kind of we're just day drinking, getting through the ones with just her and I. So
this is a way that we can day drink and not say, we were just day drinking to day drink, and we're day drink to podcast.
I remember the first time we did that, though. We did 3 episodes in a row, and by the 3rd episode, I was just drunk. I was just
talking like this,
straight up drunk.
Slurring your words. All right. Well, after that, you are going to be introducing our cocktail today. That's the first.
So we
switching it up on you for
switching
listeners.
it up. So my mom got me Zay and I an advent calendar wine box. Costco. I think we actually bought this same thing for our friends, Louise and Griffin a few years back, and we're working our way through it, so we'll be drinking this. But right now we have something called Little Ditty, which is a Macabeo. Macabeo with Jennifer. Right before the podcast, we're like, how do you pronounce that? Because we were like, Macabeo. And then I pulled up a website that says, how do you pronounce Macabeo? And then she pulled up the exact same YouTube website. So
great minds think alike.
That's right. I haven't tried it. Let's see how it tastes.
Try it and tell me what you think of the white wine. I'm not a big white wine fan, so, I'm always going to be somewhat like,
that's tart.
Wow.
Let's go. Let some tartness to it. As Jennifer's left eye shuts, it's very tart. Yeah. So if you don't want it, you can give it to Zane, and you can have the bourbon barrel.
I'll just chug it. I'm not a big waster of wine.
So Zane got these glasses that I guess have an interior fluid that freezes, and I'm just like, they smell funny.
The glasses smell. I can't smell anything because they're good, but.
So I'm holding Zane.
Yeah, it's
kind of like a mild plasticky.
Yeah.
So, and if you hear kitty cats fighting, or we lost Aria, our dog. She died. I don't know if we've covered this on a podcast, but our dog Aria passed away. She had
internal bleeding,
liver cancer, and it was causing her to not be able to stop bleeding, like leaking blood into her internal cavities. And I came home and she had a big old puddle of blood from her gums.
And my son had helped take care of you. He was very worried about you. And
well, he was a trooper.
I do love that you're so sensitive. I'm not mean way or anything, because I'm not a big crier just because how I grew up, but I try to be like, you gotta cry. But you are a crier, and it's like, Mama, he was just crying, and I was like, well, baby, that was his baby. I mean, that's Mama's baby too. Have you cried yet, Mama? And I was like, well, yeah. It hits you, and it could be like with Mila. It just random thoughts get into your mind, and you're like, oh, she's not laying in the bed with me, or I'm counting dogs as they're coming into the house, and I don't count all of them because there's no one there. Or in your house, I walk in and I look for Aria in her normal spot, or we watched Drag Race the other day for the first time in forever, and I'm laying in the recliner and sort of like with like, oh,
she was a cuddle bug. She was
and a licker.
And a licker, yes. If she crawled under the sheets, or if she sat next to you, she would try and get under the blanket, and then she would start licking her paws, and in the process, soak your pant legs with her slobber.
Yep. But yeah, so that was sad. But I'm glad that he has a male role model that shows his emotions, because with Wesley being a young black male, that is really hard to, everything that you see is you have to man up, don't cry, all that stuff. And then with what we're talking about with puberty is our topic of discussion today. He already has enough hormones and feeling and things that I want him to know it. So, I for that. You're the best.
Well, I think, I don't know. I don't know if I'm an ideal role model, but I'm also, I'm not super... I think the older I get, I just am becoming, suburbanite dad. I dress that way. I'm just kind of super casual constantly. Yeah. I'm usually in my Crocs or tennis shoes. Well, right now. It's nothing I can't tie.
Bad hips,
yeah.
So.
But... and I just, if you saw me in the grocery store, you'd think, oh, that's a middle-aged suburban dad with 2.5 kids, back problems or something like that. Right. But the older I've gotten weepier.
Yeah.
We went and saw Up Onward 2 or 3 years ago.
Took the kids.
Yeah, it was that Pixar movie. It was really good, really sweet movie. I was just weeping the entire time because it's a story about a young man seeing his dead dad again.
Yeah.
And I was like, hit me hard because I missed my dad.
Yeah.
And Cleo's in my lap, and I'm bawling my eyes out, trying to be quiet.
Right.
And Cleo's bawling too. I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about? And she's like, because you're crying. I was like, oh, good lord.
Which is just sweet.
She's very empathetic too. God, this cup smells awful.
Well, just don't smell it. Just smell it when you drink it.
Just close your nose and stick it in your mouth. Huh?
That's exactly. That's what he said.
That's what Zane tells me every night.
After eating asparagus.
All right, so we're talking about puberty.
We are talking about puberty.
Do you remember puberty?
But I barely remember last week, so I
Do you remember getting your first period?
I don't.
Really?
I don't know how old I was.
Oh, wow.
I don't know any of it. I want to say I was probably 12, 13, maybe. I don't think I see, the thing is I correlate my life with the places I've lived. With being an Army brat, it was Alabama, Germany. So I think I was in Alabama. So we moved back here when I was 12. And so that, I think it happened was like 12, 13 is when I got my first.
And that's pretty typical.
I think so, yeah. My mom, had already, warned me kind of like what we did with Clea, just because with Clea's mom very, very young, and then the spotting, I know that we explained to her very well. You guys telling her, and then the girl part of it. My mom kind of did the same thing and said, this is what's going to happen. And I've knock on wood, I've always been really okay. I get sleepier when I'm on my period, and and that's pretty. And I want more chocolate, but I like chocolate anyway, so it could just be like an excuse that my brain's like, oh, it's your period, let's eat more chocolate. But
with the sleepiness, does it happen prior to the menstrual cycle starting, or does it happen during?
Well, before I got COVID, because COVID's already made me
crazy,
being a long COVID person. I'm already fatigued as is, but it usually will start like a day or two before I start my period, where I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? And then it would go into, it's going to happen. And I know when mine's coming. I'm on,
You're super regular.
Super regular. I don't have any problem.
You're also religious about taking the pill, so that also,
Excuse me.
That's supposed to help regulate it.
It does, and the pill tells you, when you start getting to the brown ones, you're like, okay, I'm about to start my period. But I've always been pretty regular.
Awful pill color.
It is a very awful pill color.
Here, take some dried blood pills.
I did skip one last year, and it threw me off completely. Also went.
Did you do it on purpose?
No, my body did it.
Oh, okay. Because you can skip the brown pills, can't you?
No, I skipped my period.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying I've heard that girls can. I've heard that if you want to skip your period on the pill, you just skip the brown pills. Can't you?
No, you still get the period. The brown pills are placebos. You don't have to take them, but you take them so that way you're still taking them every day.
Yeah, I knew there were placebos.
So you don't skip your period, take the brown pills.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, we might need to.
Because that's what I thought it was. Because we
might have to pause and ask Google.
Yeah, well, I don't care. Right in.
Zane, look up, Google it.
Because I know that Lindsay was talking about, she had an IUD and she didn't have a period for, kind of kept it was like being on the pill for a long time. So I'd always heard that you could, if you were on the pill, you could skip the period completely just by not taking them.
Huh? No, I never heard that. So. But I've never not taken them either because I didn't want to forget.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to take the non-placebos.
Yeah. But no, I've never not taken the brown ones either, just because I want to make sure that I don't forget to take the yellow one. It's time to take the yellow ones.
Okay.
But now I need to look this shit up because I don't want a period. So if I can not have a period,
you need to look into getting an IUD because
I don't want anything stuck up in me. I'm good.
But it's like 10 years.
I don't care. Okay. I'm 41. I'm going on 42. I'm about to be going in that perimenopause anyways, where I'm going to eventually not have one anyways. So I don't need no IUD. I'm good, baby.
Okay. Well,
I'll take my pill.
The reason I was asking about the fatigue is that I remember probably like 4 or 5 days before Kalia had her period, she just had for 3 days, she was just exhausted. She would I want to go to bed at 8:30. And I was like, wow, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I even asked her, I was like, are you having any pain in your tummy or anything like that? And she's like, no. And then 4 or 5 days later, there's the period. And I'm like, oh, that was right.
Okay. So. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Skipping the non-hormonal. Ooh, that's a...
Hormonal?
Yeah, that's a hard word. Birth control pills, a.k.a. placebo pills, or reminder pills, in your pill pack won't cause...
Yes, but... Okay. Oh, I heard a good joke.
Oh, Lord.
What's the difference between a hormone and a protein?
I don't know.
You can't hear a protein.
Well,
I'm not sure I would tell that to a child.
Well, most dad jokes you won't tell to a child either. This is because you're a dad.
Well, hush. What the hell we're talking about puberty.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If you skip your non-hormonal pills and jump right to your next pill pack without taking a break, you'll skip it.
Yeah, so that's right.
You can do this every once in a while, like for a special occasion. Do it every month. It's totally safe. Huh.
I might consider doing it.
Then my thing is then I'll run out of pills.
You just get them filled faster.
They won't fill it faster.
What?
Yeah.
Do you need a prescription still?
Yeah. Or I get a prescription, the lady doctor.
Maybe
I might have to talk.
I don't
to
know
her
if you're interested in starting skipping. You might just be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you get him a little faster?"
Yeah, I might
Like,
have.
Mama don't want a period no more.
That's right. That'd be.
Fuck it
I mean,
up.
not that I have horribles.
Yeah.
You know, I know people that do. I'm not trying to say anything about it because
No, I mean, it's still an
really
inconvenience.
hurt from it. It is.
I mean, like if I didn't have to shit anymore, deal.
Yeah.
If it would just magically disappear from my body
Yeah.
and I didn't have to like wipe my ass and like or use a bidet or do anything like that,
Right.
perfect.
Yeah.
It was like one less fluid coming out my body.
But if I started at 12, I'm going 30 years doing it, so it's now kind of part of nature. Now, the girls that have the cramps and the heavy
Endometriosis.
bleeding.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. Just some
heavy
girls
bleeding,
just
yeah.
have like they don't have
Endometriosis.
Thank you. They just have really bad periods, bad cramps, or heavy bleeding, all that stuff. Yeah, you definitely that you can skip it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, I told Kiki, Clea's mom, and I told you, and I told like anybody that'll listen. It's like when Clea hits 15, I was like, we're definitely getting because not. I mean, I just don't. I was gonna say not that I don't trust her, but it's like I don't trust teenager.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't. In now that Roe v. Wade is overturned.
Yeah.
I don't want her to have to deal with that difficult choice.
Yeah.
But I still, like, it's her body, and I want her to have the enjoyment of it. It's like,
Right.
I was like, boys get to fuck around anybody they want. It's
Yep.
like, same for girls, I feel. But it's
Yeah.
like, women have a added danger, especially as a young black woman in Alabama.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if we could help her skip her period for like 10 years and not have to worry about her getting pregnant for 10 years, great.
Yeah, that would be. And as soon as they come out with that shot for the boys.
Oh, the Vasogel?
Yeah, so that they can't, give babies. I'm good with that. Wesley will get.
Because I've told you before, Wesley's like we were talking about baby. I was talking about babies with Wesley, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I want babies," and because he loves kids, he's really cute with the young ones, but I still thinks. So for our listening audience at home, Jennifer just took a sip of the Macabeo.
A
It is
big sip, so
super
Zane's
sour.
going to drink it because it tastes like pee.
And how much pee have you drank, my dear?
None, but that's what my brain's telling me, that it tastes like pee.
Maybe there's a better Macabeo out there, but this is not very good. It's super sour.
It is super sour. But I also really like white wine. I've
Yeah.
not found one that like.
But we have some rosés, so I'm hoping because Zane and I were in France and we got like a €2 bottle of rosé because we're just like, we'll just try it.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best rosé I've ever had. It was
I really like
so
rosé.
good. So good.
So cute.
It's like God.
It's like God. My God.
All right. Were we talking about puberty? No.
Yeah. And drinking pee.
And drinking pee.
But no, Wesley will get the shot so
Yeah.
that way he doesn't make any babies. And so the other day, so let me go back. My mom, when I was about, I would say 13, 14, whenever we went to a grocery store, she would purposefully walk me by the condoms and not like scream, but kind of loudly be like, "These are condoms." And she would point to them and say, "Jennifer, these are condoms." So, of course at first it's embarrassing as fuck because my mom and I'm 14, in my mind screaming and everybody in the whole fucking store can hear that my mom was talking about condoms, but she did it to make me not be embarrassed by them. So because a lot of kids have
Well, that's,
with the boys with the tampons, not
and
wanting
Kalia
to buy
with
them.
the tampons, yeah.
Right, and no one wanting to buy them because they have a stigmatism on them or whatever that says
That's the I thing.
Oh.
Stigma.
Stigma, sorry. I just got my eyes done the other day, so we'll just say that.
As soon as she said stigmatism, Zane and I were both like, what?
Yeah, turned their head and cocked their head and said, "What are you talking about?" Sorry, a stigma of it's bad.
Yeah.
Don't buy it. It's
dirty.
bad. It's dirty.
Yeah.
And I don't want my mama. Whoosh,
It's empty. It's empty.
My mom didn't want me to have that. And
Yeah.
my mom wanted me to be able to go in, buy it, and not have no problem. So the other day we're getting Wesley's pills from the pharmacy, and he loves gold. Anything gold, he's like.
And you pointed out the gold colored condoms.
And he pointed out the gold colored condoms and was like, in a fairly loud voice, like not screaming at me, but I mean not whispering at all. "Mama, do you know what these are?" And I'm like, "You know what those are?" And he was like, "Nope." And he went to the bathroom. So when he comes back out, I'm like, "Baby, so what you pointed at, do you know what they are? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, so you just pointed because they're gold. I was like, well, those are condoms. Do you know what those are? No.
I've talked to him a little bit about them.
He
doesn't
forgets,
remember shit anything.
you know, and so I'm like, okay, well, those help prevent, you know, STDs and pregnancy when you have sex. Do you know what sex is? Yes, Mom. And I'm like, okay. Do you have any questions? No. If you have questions, you can ask Mama, you can ask Jason, you can ask Zane.
He has questions because I was like, do you know what masturbation is the other day? He's like, no. I was like, okay. We have a little talk then because you don't.
But I don't want to push it on
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I want him to just kind of ask if he does, but then also know that I'm here to answer.
Yeah.
Because the other day after school, one of the teachers told me that his friend told her that he was talking about having babies with his quote-unquote girlfriend. And so I was like, you're talking grown folks and you're 11. He's 12 now, but he was 11 at the time. And I was like, you don't even know what this stuff is, so you don't need to be talking about stuff. And then all he fixated on was that his friend told after-school teacher on him. And I'm like, look, all through school you're told to tell if someone says something that's inappropriate. And what you said was inappropriate because 11-year-olds are not talking about having babies.
Yep.
But he said, no. He did what he was supposed to. I understand that you think snitching's bad or whatever, but it's not. Especially when it comes to things that are inappropriate. If you heard another kid say, I'm going to bring a gun to school tomorrow and shoot everybody up, and you don't tell, you get in trouble too, because you have to tell. So I don't think it really got into his head, but I'm thinking the more I talk about it, the more he'll maybe like start understanding the difference between actually like telling the truth like you're supposed to and then snitching. But
well, he's probably worried you're in trouble for it, but
I mean, he worries about the wrong things about to get in trouble. I think.
Yeah. But when you were talking about saying inappropriate things, it reminded me of the other day. Clea was, we were getting ready for bed, and Clea was wearing a pair of shorts, and she started scratching her upper inner thigh. And I was like, baby, stop scratching your hoochie coochie. She's like, Grandpa, stop being inappropriate. And I was like, baby. I was like, it just gets worse as it gets older. It's Auntie Jay. The things that come out of Grandpa's mouth gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. Kalea's been like it's amazing to me. I mean, it's remarkable that Kalea is 3 years younger than Wesley because she's 9, he's 12, and she is significantly further into puberty than he is.
Yep.
Like she's had an ass for probably 3 years now. She's had boobs. Yeah, she got mosquito bites probably about 2.5 years ago. She's probably an A cup now.
Yep.
She's pretty consistently wearing a bralette just to. And I told her, I was like, I don't care if you wear a bralette. You might want to just because, you know, like some people find it, some women are uncomfortable showing their nipples because if they get hard, it's obvious.
If you get cold, yeah.
I mean, like, I don't care. Like, you know, I don't think a woman should feel that way, but a lot of women do. So, like,
I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I don't like. That's why I have a pad in all my bras and my bathing suits because I can cut some glass because I get cold all the damn time anyway. So
yeah, but you know, well, speaking of boobs, earlier today before you came over, I was laying in bed and I was just in my shorts and I had the sheets kind of pulled up over my chest and I was like, she came in the room. I was like, oh, I have to cover up my boobs. She's like, oh, Grandpa, that's so gross. And then she made some comment about women having their boobs out. Or no, I made some comment about women having their boobs out. And she's like, that should be illegal. I was like, no, it shouldn't.
No.
I was like, if men can walk around this world without their shirts on, their nipples out, I was like, there's no reason women can't have that. That's some bullshit.
It is.
I was like, I understand if you don't want to, because I don't particularly love having my nipples out.
Right.
Because I'm like, not that I'm like embarrassed, but I'm also just, I don't like being naked because I just chafe everywhere and I'm just not, I'd much rather have some sort of clothing on.
Right.
But I get so mad at the idea of like women should have to, why is that women should have to put away their nipples, but men get to have theirs on display? But anyway, back to the puberty. It still amazes me that Clea is 3 years younger, but she's still much further. Because Wesley doesn't even have underarm hair yet, does he?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Does he? Because Kalea's had she's been shaving for almost 6 months now. But
Well, we talked about puberty 6 months ago, and he was, because he was to his friends, and he was like,
oh,
okay. And I was like, is that all puberty is? I was like, would you like me to go into, okay, Mama, just be talking. It might go deep, it might go high. Oh, I like the deep, but I don't want to go high, Mama, no. I was like, well, you can't control it, baby. It kind of happened. And I didn't go into more detail than that because I could tell he was getting a little bit like,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want him to talk about this with Mama. So I'm just trying to give him the lesser of the embarrassing things that can happen with boys.
You're
that
such a nice mom.
But that's what I have you for, is you're the one that can tell him you'd be sitting in class and get a boner. Or, you'd be walking around and, all that stuff. Because I'm not a boy.
Well, even if you're not a boy, I don't think you should ever. I don't know. When it comes to Kalia, I'm just like, this is how it is, honey.
But I don't know. Every kid's different. Like you said, 3 years different.
Oh, she's embarrassed by it, but I'm just like, this is not something to be embarrassed by.
But I also don't know everything.
Oh, well, yeah, but
I
you know some
what
stuff.
I've seen in movies, when you see puberty boys and they have the books in their laps. I know that happens, but...
Well, I don't know much. I don't know a lot about female puberty either, but it's still like, what I do know, I'm going to be like, you do not need to be embarrassed about that. The cat just jumped up behind me. Sorry. A weird pause, but like we just got a kitten and he's like going all over the place.
Got the zoomies.
But I don't know. I'm also of the opinion it's like when, especially with my little brothers, it's like the minute they start getting uncomfortable, like not necessarily like I'm doing something inappropriate, but like when they start being like, oh, this is an inappropriate conversation, or like this is an embarrassing conversation. This should not, like, I get the initial embarrassment, but this is something that happens. This is natural. This is what I know. It shouldn't be something embarrassing.
So I don't think it's embarrassing myself, but I also didn't start not
well,
ready
yeah,
to
I'm not saying
yet.
like
masturbating. I didn't want to talk to him about that yet because I haven't seen any signs that he has been, so I didn't want him to start already and then I have to go through all of that because you've already told me all about stuff and just like, fuck, I'm not ready for it.
You're not ready for cracking towels in half?
I am not, or socks or tissues or anything that he could use to do that because I'm just not ready.
Well, luckily the high amount of emissions from masturbation don't happen until a little bit on. But
okay.
He's probably already touching himself just because, I started when I was 10. I don't know. When did you start, Zane?
13.
So I'm hoping he's more on the 13.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, every kid's different,
yeah.
so,
I was about to say, you're hoping the 13, but he just turned 12, so you ain't got much longer.
I know, but I still have a year.
So
but
yeah.
it is, for being a mom, not knowing what boys went through, just knowing, and I don't want to go by, like I said, all I know is about movies.
Yeah.
And movies exaggerate. You don't tell you everything. You don't know if it's true or not. So that's why I asked you to have, like, different talks with, so that way he might feel more comfortable with you too, your godfather, and I asked him about it. I will talk to him about condoms, and we'll talk about that shot when it's ready, and, not having babies, and I'll do all that. But when it comes to things that boys do that girls don't go through, then, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm incredibly blunt sometimes. Mm-hmm. But, like, with with Matt and John, with my little brothers, I've always been, like, super honest about, like, sex stuff. And was like, when they started having questions, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what happens. This is ABC. I was like, at 16, I think 15, I gave them big bags of. If there's even a chance, you might like put your into a vagina. Make sure it's wrapped up.
Right.
Because you can get viruses that cause cancer, and you don't use your penis to cancer. So.
You die.
Well, even like frankly, there's worse fate than death because if you lose a chunk of your penis and you're maimed from it, or like if you're, or like the poor women who got cancer from the HPV.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I've always been pretty blunt about it just because I don't want... I think kids will mirror your reaction to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, if you act embarrassed, they're going to be embarrassed.
Right.
If you portray it as just like, this is just normal. This is like brushing your teeth or
right.
putting on underwear.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, that's why I was, like, talking to him when pointing out the condoms they were, things like that. But I'm also a little... I don't talk about too much in depth because he's 12, but his maturity level is 6 sometimes. So,
yeah. But there's always levels of appropriateness,
right?
Of maturity.
So I'm not embarrassed by any of it, but I And I try not to portray that to him, but I also know that he's not ready for all of it yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to be like, here's cunnilingus. And
Right,
yeah.
right. Here's,
Although we did have the consent talk the other day.
Right. We did that last night, actually.
Yeah. Because I don't remember what it was. Clea had said no to something. And I was like, this is an important lesson.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence. You don't, if someone says no, either one of you, you're done.
Yep.
Now, I will say, like, I don't know, like, Clea's 9, so who knows? I mean, I kind of knew at that age. I didn't have a word for it, but Clea said lately there's a lesbian, and I was like crossing my fingers. Please, I don't want to have great grandbabies. Like,
anytime soon.
Anytime soon.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just like, oh, come on, keep being a lesbian.
Yes. Just know about herpes and
yeah.
chlamydia and all the other STDs you can still get, but
I was like, let's go to Lilith Fair and we'll go see some Tori Amos. It'll be
there
great.
you go.
Indigo Girls.
Yeah, Sonny. Go to the Dykes on Bikes.
Yeah. we Wesley and I had the talk. What he felt. If he was straight, gay, bi, any of it. Like,
was there ever a conversation that boys straight?
Well, I mean, I talked to him. I was like, if you ever change your mind or if you ever feel another way, you can like girls and you can like boys. Like, we had the bisexual conversation. And ever since I've had him, it's always been girls. But I was like, Mama's not going to be mad if you like boys. It can happen. He was like, no, Mama, I think I just like girls. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that too. That's fine.
He's been girl crazy since I've met him.
But I want him to know, that he's
obviously.
okay if he does end up wanting, like, just liking people for people and not about their sex. But we had that conversation, and he's just like, nah, I think I'm straight, Mama. I'm okay. If you ever change, that's fine. If you don't change, it's fine too. I don't care. I just want you to know Mama's here for you, for whatever. Except for his little quote-unquote girlfriend right now.
Yeah.
No.
I remember when not long after we got Kalia, I showed her a video of, it was like a Black Eyed Peas video, and there were some girls kissing, and she's like, oh, that's gross. I'm like, wait a minute, why is that gross? I'm like, you've seen Granddad and I kiss. And she's like, well, and she's like, okay, I guess it wasn't. But, I don't know, I think she also kind of grew up, her foster family before us was
churchy.
Religious and churchy, so I suspect there was some talks and thoughts about that, so, but, I don't know, we're talking about, I guess, sex ed, not puberty, but...
But, it was all kind of related.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
They should teach sex ed
a
lot earlier than they do.
I really wish there was some private, because there's the Unitarian Universalist Church. Zay and I used to go to it, but it's kind of like if NPR, you know what NPR is, right? Yeah. If they had a church, it's like, believe whatever you want, just let's make the world a better place.
Right.
But they actually have...
Science is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have something called the OWL course, Our Whole Lives. But it's like it's a sex ed course you take from like 8 to 15.
Okay.
And they kind of talk about sexuality and sex and like at age appropriate levels.
Right.
But I wish there was some private shit out there to talk about sex ed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like we're doing a pretty good job with the kids on their bodies and just being honest and open, not embarrassed, and not putting any shame or anything. Right. Because that's the big thing. I was like, I don't, especially with Kalia, because with women there's so much shame associated with, and like, oh,
you have to be this, thin as your pinky, and you have to,
parts of you are dirty or bad. I'm like, no, it's just body.
Boobs are boobs.
Boobs are boobs.
Go
Menstruation,
to Europe. I remember swimming at 9 years old and seeing a lady with big old titties swimming next to me, and they were floating on the side of her. I didn't care. I even went to the wrong part of the park that was fully nude and didn't know that I went over there, and then left very quickly because I was 9. But it's there's so much shame in America about your body,
especially about women's bodies.
Right. And I'm very self-conscious. My mom does not like that about that. I didn't get that
part of the German.
Of the German, yeah. Because I remember my mom walking around topless all the time when I was younger. Patrick grew up with it too, because it's not bad. Yeah. But I'm also one that's always cold, so I'm fully clothed all the time. Like, if I'm not in bed, I got socks on. I don't sleep in socks, but I got socks on until I go to bed. And then I got slippers on if I'm walking around, like, when I was supposed to be in bed. You know, I always have clothes. That's just the way that I am. And I'm very self-conscious about my body anyways. But that's the Americans that did that to me, not the Germans.
Oh, Kalia has parroted. Like I have learned over the to be more careful about what I say about my own body. Kalia has parroted back some negative things I said, not about me, but like herself.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm like, oh, I need to lose some weight, or whatever, and she's just said, oh, I need to lose some fat. And so I was like, I've got to be careful about that. But I will say, I've like. You know, with my own, I don't have a ton of body issues, but I also I'm not the type of person who would ever take my shirt off just willy-nilly. I will go swimming, but it's taken me a longer.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm a 45-year-old man. Piece of shit.
Yep.
And it was like, I'm a hairy motherfucker, and I don't want the kids to be self-conscious about their bodies and little brothers to be conscious. So I was like, okay, you know what? Push through.
Yep.
I was like, I keep forcing them to not be weird about sex or body talk. I have to live that true with my own body. It's been a struggle though, because you learn a lot of internalized hatred about your own body.
Yeah, very, very hard. Yeah. We talked about self-esteem this.
You and Wesley?
Me and Wesley, because he asked me why I put makeup on, and I was like, "Well, it makes it look prettier." He was like, "Why?" I was like, because Mama has low. He's like, "Well, what's that?" And I was like, "It's the way that you feel about yourself." And he was like, well, I like myself. And I was like, you have high self-esteem, really good for the most part.
A good analogy to that is, well, why do you care so much about your outfits? Because he's been super, you know, he's been super, like, yeah, he's like, oh, I have to have a certain outfit and it has to match and bullshit like that. Yeah. You're like, well, you know, it just makes me feel beautiful. Like your outfit put a lot of effort and it makes you feel handsome.
Well, I didn't think about that this morning because
if it ever comes
tired,
out,
but I'll go tell them after our podcast if I remember. But I was just like, you know, well, Mama has low and you have high self. But then his high self-esteem kind of scares me sometimes because his ADHD medicine makes him lose weight because he doesn't have an appetite like he normally does. So I was telling him, I gave him muscle milk because muscles is in the name, but it was more for him to keep on his journey of growing because he's sprouted. He is tall. I mean, compared to like looking pictures when he's 8 and where he is like on my body to 12 where he is on my body, you can see he's shot up.
Oh yeah.
Because you know I see him every day, so I don't see it. But my mom saw him the other day. It was like, wow, you gotten tall. I was like, yeah, sure, you know.
You remember those pictures I pulled on my phone the other day? Like the first pictures we have of him, how teeny tiny he looks, and how itty bitty Kalia looks.
Yeah. So it's I want him to grow right. And not, because he's like, every time we go get his weight, is that more his last time? He doesn't. But then when
he made comments about that at lunch today because I took him to Taco Bell. Yeah, I gotta watch Six Pack, and I kind of made the comment. I was like, you know, bodybuilders. He's like, he's like, I want to be ripped. You know, bodybuilders, right? Like the really big muscular guys, they eat a ton. Yeah. I was like, if you want to put muscle on, you have to lot, and you have to force yourself to,
right?
And you have to work out. Yeah. But I think he's just gonna be a medium heights, green, what do they call it? String bean? Yeah. String bean little boy. Probably have a 6-pack his entire life.
And that, I mean, that's fine, but I don't want him to have a thing where he doesn't. I'm trying to stop that because I don't want him to have issues with his body not eating that. So that's why we were doing the muscle milk, so that way he...
Is he still drinking that?
No, he's not anymore because the Vyvanse doesn't curb his appetite nearly as much as the Adderall did. Because he ate 2 waffles for breakfast, and he ate not too long before we came here, so it's not like, you know. So when he's with me, he eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what he does at school because you can't keep track of that. Because our school lunches are free, so I could kind of keep track of it if I paid for it, but then he could just throw it away or give it to another kid. So you know, and then he lies so much, I don't know what to do with that. But he's 12, so he's going to be going, or he's already a tween, and he's got the attitude for it. So now we're going to come up with everything else that comes with going.
I will say the one thing, I don't know if it's always been that way. I guess it has. Like, Kalia in the last few years is the attitude. Yeah. Is the pouting fucking Actually, I got onto her earlier because she had lost something. She'd accidentally thrown something in the trash. And so right before the podcast, she was digging in the trash. And Granddad got onto her because she spilled some stuff. No. Or, you want to say
some more wine?
Jennifer flashed her wine at me. And I'm like, I don't want any.
I'll buy another cookie.
Oh yeah, I'll take some Cooper and Thief.
Well, I got it right there. Baby.
Sorry, I didn't. My cup's over there.
Don't yell at me. I didn't know.
I can yell.
I'm not sure you can, but damn.
What were we talking
See
about?
how I am? What?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
You were just
I got under.
Oh yeah.
trash can.
Yeah, Zane had got onto her for cleanup, the little bit of a fluid that kind of dripped on the floor, and she had a huff and threw herself on the couch, and I was like, "What is the problem?" And I was like pissed off because and she's like,
You got daddy voice.
Oh,
on
I got
her.
so
Woo!
mad at her because she was just pouting for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, would you go clean up your room?" And it's just like throwing yourself on the floor, and like I was like, "Girl," I was like, "I ain't asking you to cut out a goddamn kidney. Just do what I ask of you. It's not." Oh. But anyway, she's like, "Grandma, I got in trouble." I was like, "Did anyone put you in timeout? Did someone take away a tablet or make you do something? Impose some punishment?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck." I didn't say that, but I was just like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Because you are not in trouble. Someone got onto you for cleanup. You ain't in trouble.
Yeah.
Quit the fucking pouting.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You get the pouting, I get the attitude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's just a difference of the attitude being expressed.
Oh.
But, I mean, because, she is the queen of having that last fucking word.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I
don't know if it's puberty, but
I think it is.
it's fucking annoying.
It is.
But we're not alone in this. I know we're not
I
alone.
know, yeah, definitely not. But his is, questioning my question. Wesley, did you clean your... Why? Why would I ask? And then I'll say something. And he'll be like,
Can I have some
whatever.
juicy? It's over there. My glasses are on the bar.
And he'll be like, whatever. No, not whatever. Just please do what I ask. And then this week he's mean and just not... I feel like I don't ask him. Like, he doesn't have to clean his often. Like, I want him to kind of keep it somewhat tidy, but I don't make him, it is not drill sergeant, on the floor with fucking toothbrushes, cleaning the floors kind of shit.
You and I are both not, they have chores, but it's not, overwhelming.
Right. And most of them I don't trust him to do it, so I just do everything my damn self. So the only thing he really has to do is clean his bathroom when I tell him to, and I have to help him with it, and clean his bedroom. That's all I ask. But it's too much. So he got mad at me because he asked me what was for dinner, and my response was because I didn't know what the fuck I was going to make. Because, again, when I ask him when I go grocery shopping, what do you want this week, he says, I don't care. So first off, he doesn't help me. Second off, I don't know. I don't feel good. I'm tired. I'm a mom. I just, I'm going to make whatever the fuck I find in the refrigerator make. He got so fucking mad at me because I said food.
Do too much.
Because I do too much. And I'm like, dude, why are you so mad at me? And then finally I get it out of him. It's because I didn't answer. And I was like, because I didn't fucking know. You could have just said that. Motherfucker, you could have just not asked and not get mad about the shit. Like, why? You are not the parent here. I am the parent. You just go to your room, have fun. Don't worry about it. I'll feed you, of course. What? I don't know, but I'll figure the shit out.
I love how, they can be the giant smartasses, but if we do it, hell to pay.
Right. And then the other day I'm talking to him. He was like, oh, I wasn't listening.
Shocker.
So I said, well, the next time you're talking to me, I'm just going to be like, I wasn't listening. And then you're going to be mad as hell because I'm not listening to you, but you don't listen to me. The double standards. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
And I say, because I don't know. I want to say it's puberty. I really don't know if it is. It just could be just an asshole.
I think puberty and also just growing up. I will say, on my good days when I'm not, when I'm well rested, I'm not in a bad attitude or a bad mood.
Not hurting, because hurting really does.
Yeah, if I'm not hurting, or if I'm not, whatever. It's on my best days when Kalia gives me or she's grumpy, I'll just pull under a hug and be like, what's going on? Why are you mad?
Right.
I would say that happens about half the time. The other half, I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
Right.
I was like, I asked you to do something that you do every week.
Yeah.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm really good. Sometimes I'm like,
yeah. And you're getting them ready for adulthood, but they don't understand that. That's what you do your laundry, because you're going to have to fucking do it when you get older.
Mm-hmm. We tried to show Kalia how to make spaghetti. Easiest fucking shit in the world to make.
Right.
Through a goddamn hissy fit. I'm just like, listen, bitch. Like, yeah, I don't expect you to. Don't ever expect. Don't ever let a man tell you got to make him a sandwich. But you need to be able to feed your fucking self.
Right. Yeah, and Wesley, I'm trying to give him his life lesson. Know how to shower, take yourself. Know how to separate your clothes. Not have pink fucking white pants. He wanted white pants for his birthday. And it's pulling teeth. And it's the hardest thing ever. And the thing is this is just the beginning. I don't think this is going to end until he's 20-something. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm ready for this. I only had 2 good years. And that was
in 2 years, you'll look back at this.
But because I know it's going to get harder. That's the thing, it starts now and it's going to get harder. Yep. Not that the last 3 years haven't been hard, because we've been trying to figure out everything between his... Because when I got him, he was not, he did not have ADHD, he wasn't on any medicines, and now he's on like a whole bunch of shit. And he's dyslexic, and he's dysgraphic, and I don't know if that's the actual word, he has dysgraphia, but I imagine it's the synonym for it. But the way that he got to me, we had to try to learn all was not necessarily wrong with him, but what we could do to better him. And so now it's all that plus people.
Yeah. Well, and you're all settling it too. It's a blast. No. Parent, anybody that's not a parent, long and hard about how
enjoy your time.
Yeah, it's rewarding when it is, but it's the hardest thing you will ever do, and it is thankless. Yes. Oh my God, is it ever thankless?
It's very much that. And I just every time we talk on the podcast, or I have a really bad day with Wesley, I just want to be like, Mama, I love you and thank you for taking care of me, because I don't know what the fuck I put you through, but what this little shit's putting me through, I love you.
I have, when I had my little brothers, I warned them, I was like, be careful. Every bad thing you do will be revisited by your children. So, and it has been true for me. So, like, every shitty thing I did to my parents.
But I don't think I was that bad. I don't know why I get this.
You were glutton for punishment for a foster kid. Is your problem?
Well, that's true. Yeah, because I adopted. No, it's not. I love my son. He is.
Yeah, for all his flaws, foils and foibles, whatever. For all his flaws and foibles. I'm trying to say.
Is that what it is?
Hush. He's a good person. Like, he's got a big heart.
Yeah.
He just doesn't think.
Yes.
So.
He has a conscience.
Yes.
Yeah, he does have a conscience. So let's, since we're running on, let's, why don't we segue to,
was it that time?
Oh, girl, we're like 10 minutes past where we normally are.
Ooh,
we've been chit-chatting.
We didn't think we could talk about puberty, but we can.
We can. We're transitioning to attitude.
Oh, well, that's part of puberty.
So to our 4 listeners, if you have any funny stories about your kids,
or if you need some bad parenting advice,
email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com.
Yep.
But Jennifer, what have we been snacking on?
Girl Scout cookies. It's that time of the year.
I know it. After the last episode, we were eating Girl Scout cookies. We both tried the toffee ones?
Toffee-tastic. Well, you had them last episode, and I tried one of yours. No.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to throw that box away. That's gross.
I'll finish them.
It's all yours, boo.
Yeah, they'll be Zane's.
Oh, not good.
They're not my jam. The lemon ups are sweet and...
Lemony delicious?
They are. They're very lemon. Always Thin Mints and the Vegetables.
Vegetables were good. I just had Thin Mints this time.
I got you.
But I'm also... I think inebriated because I've had quite a bit of wine. Because this is our, to pull back the curtain on the podcast, this is our second episode of the day, and I'm a little bit tipsy. But
that's Jason for you.
Okay, so
I guess we're on story time now.
Yeah,
right?
we've had our snack.
You have a story that you want to share.
So since we've been talking about attitude, and it really wasn't attitude, but it was so fucking hilarious because I'm a giant smartass, and
really.
For those, if this was a video, if this was a visual medium, my lips would be very pursed.
And his eyes was rolling.
But I'm a big, I'll tease people. Like, I try not to, I used to be worse about it, but I'll tease, like, if you say something dumb, I'm like, did you really mean that? So anyway, I was hanging out with Clea the other day, and, as our 4 listeners know, I had my hip replaced, and my left hip is now hurting. And I was hanging out with Kalia, and she was doing something. I can't remember what, but I was kind of teasing her. I was like, "Oh, little baby, you can't do something." I was being a little jerk.
Yeah.
And she's looked at me and she goes, "Well, at least my hip doesn't hurt." I was so taken aback. I was like, "Ma'am."
Burn! The shade of it all.
I was so tickled by that. I was just like, "Ma'am, how dare you?"
She is learning from the best, and by the best I mean Auntie J.
Cheers to that. So yeah, I got so tickled that.
Teaching her well.
Oh, at least my hip don't hurt. I was like, "Bitch."
That is awesome.
That's so funny.
Now, if she says, "At least my knees don't hurt," to me, I'm gonna beat her up.
Backhand her, little ass. Oh. Well, to all our 4 listeners, thanks again for listening to another guide. Thanks for listening to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like we tell our kids when they complain about having to put on deodorant and perform basic hygiene tasks.
Tough shit.
That's right.
That's right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.